And welcome to Strength-Based Marketing. I'm Pat Dewar. I'm really excited about today's show because I'm curious if you've ever had this feeling. During this COVID-19 thing, you had more time and you're thinking, am I going to be able to go back to work and do what I needed to do? And am I going to be able to do it the same way? Have you ever thought, there's a lot of ways to make money online now and a lot of ways to make money taking your expertise and bringing it into the marketplace. But it seemed like just an insurmountable amount of information to process and learn and do stuff. And you're like, ow. Well, today I've got my guest, Scott Barhold. And Scott is an expert at taking a business into the black. I always wondered about Black Friday. He's like, golly, it's just that, people just mob no, it's the day that everything switches from being in the red to in the black. It's the profit day of the year. And Scott has some great ideas. Every time we talk, we exchange ideas back and forth. And I thought it'd be fun in the Strength-Based Marketing group to share with you some of the things that Scott's doing to relaunch out of this COVID-19. I'm curious, Scott, when this COVID-19, first I should say thank you for being here. And then the second thing is, just to get right into it, is really when this COVID-19 thing hit, how did that affect your business? And I think about the time that it happened, you actually had some other things hitting, but let's talk. What happened about the time of the shutdown for you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Always good to be here with you. When COVID hit, I was actually just getting out of the hospital from open heart surgery. So basically, I had things planned that we were going to be on hiatus for a little while anyway. So for me, it was no big deal. Actually, the joke I use is I went in the hospital and God shut down the world. So I must be pretty.
Stop that.
Yeah. Hey, you guys want to keep me well. No. So we had planned on taking a 30-day, 45-day stoppage. And because we planned on it beforehand, things didn't affect us early on, but then it did. We're watching events cancel. We're watching businesses and things like that not doing what they normally do. I have, as Pat knows, I have multiple businesses. One of them is an entertainment business. And every event from now through Halloween has already canceled. This was not my 30 to 45 day. When I say from now, I'm going all the way back to the last event we did was February 29th. So from February 29th to October, there's zero income coming in. The good news for that is it gave me a lot of time to do stuff. That notebook full of ideas, that's just a little bit out of my reach, that notebook full of ideas that sits there when you're too busy to do stuff, when you're too busy to work on it, all of a sudden became a priority. One of the things that I've learned from helping businesses with the accounting for years is that when times are good, nobody worries about accounting. When times are bad, everybody freaks out about accounting, right? So this was an opportunity, and we've seen businesses that are coming in and they're struggling, and they have to pivot. They have to make changes. So we had to do the same thing. It's no different here, right? All of a sudden, we went from doing kids' birthday parties to doing virtual magic shows. We went from doing bookkeeping and accounting, which we're still doing, but now businesses that didn't want our help are all of a sudden calling about, we have a program called profit-based pricing, where we literally help businesses start to see how much should they be charging, right? The question we go into it with is, have you ever asked how much should I charge, or where did all my money go? Yeah, chances are that's what we can do to help. And we go through this program, and by the time we're done, the folks that have been on it understand where they are. Number one, they understand where they are, and then they understand how they're going to get to, or what they need to do to get where they need to be, or at least the financial side of it. And now it becomes opportunities to look at. So
yeah, I went through that program with you. I had a lot of fun, and I will tell you, if you haven't had a chance to sit down with Scott on that and look at what really should you be charging? Because a lot of times people go buy a business or they get involved in a business and they kind of price it the way it's always been priced by the previous owner or the local area, not really looking at what does it really take to make enough money so that you can live a life, not live a life where your hours of operations are only those that you're awake.
Yeah.
You get the gist. So yeah, that was really good. But you've been able to go on and take that to another step, because even when we did, I was like, that's cool, Scott. What's next? And he was
Yeah.
like, let me think about that as far as what the next steps would be to move into that. I mean, a lot of the things that I do in helping people increase revenue, we look at maybe 5 to 7 things. There are probably 28 that I could talk about. But the issue is that it's message. Is it market? Is it media? Whatever media you're using, whether it's social media or whatever. What are you doing? Are you creating authority? What's your unique selling proposition or service proposition? How are you building your authority with? I mean, these are the things that differentiate you. Because if you just go and do what everybody else did, you go through Google and look at your industry and look at everybody's website, and you'll see most of the websites out there will have basically just, on this, call us for a free consultation. And you and I know, Scott, that doesn't attract anything. That doesn't differentiate you. So what are some of the steps you've taken to differentiate your clients and to create the plan to begin to implement to create more profit, even during this lockdown and supposedly unlock, but now it's been relocked, so whatever we're doing right now?
Yeah. Well, if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you look the same. And when we do that, we just start to become a commodity. Everybody's the same. The only difference between us all is price. Well, then it's a race to the bottom. And when times are tough, that's not the way to do it. So as a matter of fact, we were talking about the profit-based pricing. That started because I was working with a couple that were landscaping. She quit a good job, or her words were a good job. This was the first year I was helping them with their taxes. And, she was upset because she was like, when are we going to start making enough money? We're struggling with the bills. We're struggling with that. And all these things happened. And when we came up with how much he should charge, he was like, I can't charge my customers that per hour. When did anybody ever go? I mean, we've talked about this, right? So you asked the question, when was the last time you went out to dinner? Did you ask how much the chef made per hour? Did you ask how much the waiter made per hour? The hostess? No. We don't do that. We look at what the project is, or the result, or the product that we're buying, and we say, is this going to solve my problem? And we started changing that. And the minute we stop trying to sell. The instant you stop trying to sell and you start trying to solve their problems, that's what's going to make you different, because everybody's trying to sell them. You need a new roof. You need insurance. You need this. So I just started looking at what business owners needed, right? My background is accounting and bookkeeping, and that's what I do. But then they're going, well, I don't have any customers. Well, how are you going to get them? And I mean, I remember when I first got my website. Now, this goes back quite a few years. But I remember I spent $2,100 to get a website made. And I ran home when he told me it was up and running. And for like 30 days, nothing happened. And I called him up. I said, David, the website's not working. He pulled it up on his computer. He says, no, it's working here. I said, well, nobody's calling me. He said, well, how are you getting your name out there? What do you mean? And from that moment on, everything changed. Driving traffic, doing emails, right? Creating offers. Because when we just put out a website, that's great. That's a brochure. But I'll never forget the picture he showed me on my computer screen. It was a picture of Times Square on New Year's Eve. And there was all this stuff going on. And he asked me, he said, did you see the guy with the sign that said pizza? And I looked at that thing all over the place. And sure enough, on his screen, he took a little marker and circled the guy. I saw all that busyness and I couldn't see his little guy that was trying to sell pizza. Well, on the internet, that's us. If you're not doing something to attract attention, you're just another piece of the noise. So that's what started helping business owners take a look at how are they doing what they're doing and how can we improve it? And that's what started all this other stuff that we're doing.
So what are some of the things that you would sit there and say, right now, everybody's kind of still trying to figure out where they're going to make money. What are some steps that people can do that can begin to create more money?
Well, there's a few things. The number one thing that comes to my mind is there's a lot of people that lost their job because of this. Jobs are closed. They don't have it. This might be a good time to create a home-based business.
Doing what?
Depends on who you are and what you do. There's lots of different things. Pat, you and I are speakers. We are experts in different areas, right? Why not create courses to sell things you know? Right? We call them info products. This is a great way to do it. There's people that are making money selling stuff online, jewelry and things like that. You can do that. But how do you do that? So that's one of the things that we've done. And we've shown you how to start 17 ideas that you can create a home-based business. And what makes it so cool is you get more tax deductions than the W-2 employee. So just by having a home-based business. So that's it. How do you get traffic? Right? Whether we like it or not, the new changes here. You were talking about this earlier. When you get up in the morning and you go to your computer today and you check your email, what's the first thing you do when you see all the emails you got while you slept last night? What do you do?
Me, I scan them and figure out if there's something that's important. Kind of prioritize.
Would this be a true statement? You probably spend a lot of time deleting emails when you first go through them.
No, I don't delete. I just figure there's enough storage space out there, just leave it.
Okay.
And that's just the way that I organize, because I'll search for something that I'm looking, like if I'm looking for a certain person or an email correspondence, I'll just search for it. But the thing is that I'll spend time scanning through the different, hundreds of emails that you get per day. And you're really just looking for what's the most important. And what's fascinating is there are a number of them that I'll recognize their name, and I do open them because I'm interested in learning more about what they're doing, what they're saying. And many times they're just people that are, they might know they're really good marketers. And me, I'm always looking for great marketing ideas.
Yeah.
So that's just the way that I do it. I know some people delete. I just don't. I just kind of scan it.
Well, I'm a deleter. I mean, I come up and I'm like,
you're a Vulcan. What do you expect?
What's that? Yeah.
I said, you're a Vulcan. What do I expect?
Right. But then I'll see something that'll say something that's, not that long ago. We were shopping for a new car. And it said, $3,000 trade-in minimum. Hey, we were looking for a car that caught my attention, right? Because I knew I was driving a car with like 250,000 miles on it, and I was lucky if I was going to get $50 for it. But it was something that caught my attention, a pattern interrupt, if you will. Well, one of the things that, in order to create traffic, you can't be one of the deleted emails. You might have the best product in the world, but if you just say, "Hey, how's your life insurance?" Delete. Because who wants to sit and listen to about life insurance unless you're in the market to do that? But if it came out differently, instead of life insurance, you were to say something along the lines of, if something happened to you, would your wife be taken care of?
Right. Or even something as simple as, my wife lost her uncle last night. And it was a surprise to us. It wasn't a surprise to the family because he had been sick for a while. We didn't know that. Are you prepared for that environment? You know, COVID's taken so many people from us, and the most interesting thing to me is that life insurance rates have actually not gone up. Maybe a few have, but for the most part, the big boys aren't adjusting the rates yet. And I think so again, it's just, if you're having that concern, how are you going to take care of your family if things change? And so, it's that, again, to me, I would encourage people to look at, what is it that you really know about, that you're really good at? And then ask yourself, what was the pain that you walked through that created the need to know that information? When we talk about, we're speakers, one of the greatest fears is public speaking. And a lot of people are afraid to get on a Zoom call, though they're, less and less frequent because people are kind of getting used to the new normal. But I always tell people, look, whenever you're going to present something, just ask yourself, what do these people need to know right now? And it shifts the attention off of you onto them, because that's the important thing. Scott, are there any tricks that you use to begin to step across the fence, like with your landscaping people? Step across the fence, no pun intended, and look from the customer's point of view at what their biggest needs are. And then one of the things that a lot of people miss is they think they got to start with some small little offering. And, there might be a free offering to get yourself in the door. Like I love to say, look, I got a book, it came out earlier this year, really proud of it, strength-based marketing, hence the name of the Facebook group. But if people will send me a request to get my book for free, they just pay the $5 shipping, and I send them the book. And I also put them on my website, Doer 10K Business Strategies, so they continue to get ideas. Well, the thing that what I just did is an idea. What can you do to introduce the service, talking from their perspective? Because I think ideas are important. And so I'm curious, Scott, what are some of the ideas that you have for shifting the attention essentially off of your features and benefits onto the customer's pain, the customer of your customer? Do you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's always about knowing your customer, or your ideal customer, right? Or who the customer is that you want. You've got to understand what are their pain points, right? Like I said, these landscapes, they hired me to do their taxes. That was the solution I was providing. And I don't want to go against your book thing. I think that was great. But my initial meeting to them was not a free giveaway of a tax return. It was,
oh yeah. I mean, you're presenting a service that you should charge for.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were doing it when this deeper pain was revealed. And the only reason I'm saying this is because the freebie is a great thing for traffic that doesn't know you. You're trying to build rapport, build a relationship, but it doesn't always have to be free. So they had put out a request. They were looking for somebody. They talked to a friend of theirs who knew somebody who knew me and said, oh, we got this guy. And so they called me, and I was charging them to be there when this deeper pain was revealed. And it was just starting. It was just questions, simple questions. And well, how did you come up with the price that you're charging? And the guy's response, he didn't even miss a beat. He goes, that was easy. The guy we bought the place from, the guy we bought the landscaping thing from, we just charged, because we kept his customers, we just charged what they charged. Well, was this guy, I live in an area that's got a lot of retired military. Was he retired military? Maybe he's getting a military pension. He doesn't need to make what you need because you've got a 4-year-old child and you've got a house payment. Maybe his house is already paid off, right? Maybe he's getting Social Security. I don't know how old the guy was. I never met the guy, but His financial needs were different than yours. Did you ever look at this business from your financial need? And for the first time ever, when we sat down for 60 minutes, not including their taxes, this was a totally other thing, we looked at what their needs were, right? Tell me about you. And that's all we talked about was them. Now, I may have highlighted a few areas that they didn't think of, like they're in their 30s, and how much are you putting away for retirement? I don't know about you, Pat, but when I was in my 30s, retirement, what do I need that for? That's 100 years from now. It comes up quick. So we started asking those questions. We revealed the deeper pain and opened their eyes to potential pitfalls. So those are things that we can do. Stop thinking about what you sell. Understand how it solves their need. And then start talking to people about helping their need, not padding your pocket. I hate to put it that way, but there's
No, it's so good. The thing that I would be a little concerned about, and I wonder how you would address this, Scott, is that sometimes when you get into people's needs, you begin to drift away from your core business.
Well, you always have to know your why.
Right. That's what I wanted to talk about, is that, when you're getting into their needs and their desires, make sure you stay on kind of your core industry. And then as it begins to maybe drift off of that, to begin to say, okay, who do I know?
Yeah.
And this to me is just taking it to another level. Who do I joint venture with that can fill those pockets in their life? So, I mean, I just look at where people are right now, and I go, okay, you can create some information products. You can just begin to build your authority. I mean, if you're somebody who is either getting the unemployment or they're getting paid, and it's enough to sustain, but you're having like 3 months ago, whatever it was, I was recalled from Marquette, Michigan. I was doing a Michigan run, and down through Appleton and all those places we used to visit. And anywho, the thing is that 48 hours later, I was doing 6-hour webinars, and I was doing them 2-3 days a week. Well, I was used to doing them 5 days a week. So, wow, I got 2 days off a week, right? And so, I'm always looking for ways to increase my influence, because I know when you increase your influence, you increase your affluence. Well, a lot of times I think people right now, they might have a little bit more time than they might used to, or they might be just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen and with COVID and how it's going to affect their company and their workplace. Or maybe they've been, I mean, what do they say, 25 million or something people are unemployed.
Yep.
And so they're needing to look for something else.
And some of them don't even know it. They think their job is going to come back, or they're getting by on just enough now. And let's be honest, there's a lot of businesses that aren't hiring, right? It isn't like it was right before this thing shut down, what were we down to, like 3%, 4%?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look at Enterprise went out of business. Several other companies have gone through, chapter something or another, and in fact, a lot of the things that we're hearing is that people that were furloughed, it's not an automatic rehire. They invite them back to interview, and they're opening it up. So it doesn't guarantee. I just go, what are you going to do to differentiate yourself? Because with so many people unemployed, you got to know that the competition is going to be a little steeper. And you can't just kind of futz through and, kind of halfway do it. If you really want to grow you and grow yourself, then whatever you do, whether you do the home base or you try to go back to work for somebody else,
Yeah.
what are you doing to develop yourself? And one of the things that's I've seen in when I was in corporate, being able to convey your ideas like what you and I do is actually one of the most valuable tools that you can have as um, as a professional. Would you agree with that, Scott?
I would agree.
So, 3 steps you would recommend right now that people begin to do. Maybe think of the professional that actually is just trying to relaunch first. What are just 3 things, Scott, somebody could do?
First thing, you probably know more than you think. So
How
it's
could they figure that out though, as far as, like, I think of writing, I was told when I started speaking, write down 100 ways to start your speaking business. I call it Magic 100, but what are some things you recommend there?
take a look at your accomplishments. What have you
Okay.
done? And most importantly, what have you done that has helped somebody else, whether it's an individual or a business? What have you done that has helped somebody else make their life better, easier, faster, whatever? Because that's an area that you probably have expertise. And
Right.
chances are, right now, hearing this, you're going, yeah, but nobody would pay me for that. That's the thing, right? Because believe me, when I first created that QuickBooks video course, I was like, who the heck would ever watch this thing? Only to find out there are thousands and thousands of people. And all I thought was, they'll all just go to YouTube. I was wrong, right? The stuff you know is gold to somebody who doesn't. Because, yeah, I can go out onto YouTube, but if I have a question, who do I ask?
Right.
Right? All of a sudden. So take heed in what you know, that works out.
Okay. So that's one. What's two?
Number two, write it down. I said it was just out of reach. Next to my computer, 24/7, right? Everywhere I go, there's a notebook. Ideas come across your face every day. Take the time to write these ideas down. Like I said, while we were here on this, I have notebooks filled with ideas that I didn't have time to process. Now I have time, but I don't, right? If I didn't write all this stuff down, I wouldn't have had the ideas. So now's the time. If you don't have ideas written, it's a great time to, as you go through things, folks, everybody's in the same pickle barrel, but each one of us has different strengths. Take the opportunity to look at what you can do, right? That was step one. Step number two, write these things down. Step number three, start taking action to do these things, to put them into play. You and I are speakers, so teaching is a big part of what we do. It doesn't always have to be about teaching. I shared with you, I got a pizza parlor that's less than a mile from my house. It's our favorite pizza joint, not because he's close, but because he's that good. And he was struggling. Monday nights have always been tough for him, but after COVID-19, they shut down the dining room and all this stuff. He was, doing the whole, oh my God, we're not going to be able to survive. And just from talking. Now, it wasn't even my idea, so I don't want anybody to think, but it was just a conversation going on. And he always ran on a Monday night, $7.99 pizza, right? You come into the place, $7.99 pizza, which was cheaper than the normal price on Monday nights because it was always a dead night. Of course, you were paying for your soda. You were paying for your appetizer if you got one. Garlic knots were always a favorite. Well, long story short, pickup only. Well, COVID-19, what other choice did he have? Other choice was delivery. Pickup only, 2 medium pies, $5.99 each. 2 medium pies, $5.99 each. So he went from making $7.99, $8, and now he's making $12. And people are getting the 2 pizzas, and guess what they're adding on? The soda,
All the amenities. Yeah.
right? All the stuff to take it home.
So it's now a $20 meal, and he didn't have to do any. He didn't have to have somebody out there taking the order, delivering the stuff, any of that. It's just, here's the pizza, give me the money, and all was good.
Well, I hope it was better than that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying.
But
Because I imagine people are really interested in the taste, because I imagine it's pretty amazing.
right. Well, and then when we pulled up on that Monday night, the parking lot there was a line. Right? His dead night, now he had, but how did he make that happen? He didn't just say, I'm going to do that. He took out an ad in the local paper. Every delivery pie had a flyer on the box that said he was doing this only on Monday nights. And then he changed it a little bit. He changed the ad that when he put it out on his Facebook page, the price was a little different. And it came with a soda, a 2-liter bottle of soda, right? Which one's working better? And you could see what people were coming in. Oh, and by the way, if you showed up and you called in, you had to have the coupon with you, or it would get honored, right? So now he knows, oh, was this coming out of the penny saver? Was this coming out of the this, the that? He was actually able to track where his customers were coming from, what was bringing him money in, and he turned a dead night into a cash cow. So you and I right now are talking about info products. I want you to know this worked for pizza.
Right.
So it doesn't just have to be information. It could be so many different things that they do.
What is that number?
That was number 3 yet? Take action.
Take action. Yeah, I always say, look, information with implementation creates transformation. If we don't take action, nothing happens. I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you so much, Scott, for being with me. And I hope you've gotten some ideas. If you like it, hey, put a like down there. Give us some feedback on other topics. And how do people get a hold of you, Scott?
Focusorfailure.com has a lot of my stuff. Scott@focusorfailure.com is a great way to get in touch with me as well. That's my email.
Okay.
And then
now is focus at failure. Focus. Say that.
Focusorfailure.com. It's
just straight up, no hyphens, right?
Yep, just straight up focusorfailure.com, because when we're focused, we don't fail.
I get that. I'm actually reading a couple of books right now on Miracle Morning and his other book on the formula, and he talks about how important it is that we really focus on what we want, and we begin to take action on that, and then watch the miracles take place. And folks, I just encourage you, let us know what other topics that you really have questions about too.
Yeah.
All these strength-based marketing is all about bringing ideas, showing the different tools that are available, the ways that people can connect to brilliant minds, and invite people to the group. It is a closed group, but they can apply, and if they're somebody that looks like they'd be a great ad, I want to add them. I want to add great minds working together. Folks, this is Strength-Based Marketing. I'm Pat Dewar, and it's been a pleasure serving you. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again. Thanks again, Scott.
Anytime.